What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Salud Cabrones podcast. I am Danny Villegas.
And I am Javier Ledesma.
And before we get started, we ask you to like, comment, subscribe, and share the Salud Cabrones podcast on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and YouTube. And follow us on all social media platforms at Salud Cabrones podcast. And before we get started, we want to give a special thanks to our sponsors, the Law Office of Christopher Hoff and to Taco Villa in Villa Park. Javier, we got one of the brothers in here, one of the boys. When this guy broke in, man, I was one of the guys that was would be in training with him, help train him a little bit. Fucking abs of steel, this motherfucker, dude.
It never changed. I don't understand, dude.
No. Like when he started, like he had an 8-pack. Now he's got a 12-pack, and I don't fucking get it.
Jesus, fuck, dude. Like, does he gain any weight by eating shit?
I
or
don't
does
know.
he even eat?
I don't even know. I mean, the guy's a chef, so I would think he fucking eats.
He eats like sauteed dust. Probably.
Something, man. I don't know, man. I mean, I remember he was, I don't know if he remembers this, but he was nicknamed Steel City from fucking Honky Tonk Man.
I remember full well.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Mr. Will Emory.
Epitome of professional wrestling excellence, the poster boy of the Will Emory brand in the house. How you guys doing?
Shit, here we go.
Damn, it's going to be that kind of show.
It's going to be a kind of
dude,
episode,
my nipples got all hard on that.
Your nipples been hard?
I'm used to nipples getting harder on me. Usually they're female, but I mean...
It's not you, bro. It's the cold in this room.
It is a little nipply in here.
I was going to
It
say,
is a little
dude,
bit.
bro,
That's why you got your rocking the hoodie, huh?
Yeah, rocking the hoodie,
I was about to say, your nipples are hard the minute you walk down here, bro. Your nipples
Jesus
got hard.
Christ, it's friggin' goddamn Antarctica down here, dude.
These penguins down here.
Yeah, cold as balls down here, dude.
Just sensitive baby skin, bro.
Usually the women I'm with don't tell me that my balls are cold, but that's pretty hot down there.
It's like it's just sweaty down there.
Just sweaty, just musty.
And this episode just went off the rails.
That's it. Musty balls and all.
We only just started, ladies and
That's
gentlemen.
it. Brother, thank you, man, for joining us. Good to fucking see you, man.
Yeah, you too.
I haven't seen you in years, bro.
No,
Good
yeah,
to
I
see
mean,
you.
like, I remember you were one of the guys that you were coming up in POW when I first got there. Like, you had been there for a couple of years. I think you were like nursing like a knee injury at that time. But I remember you were going into
I'm always nursing injuries, bro. Fuck.
But you were going into
Always,
a big program with Kanoa going into the Odium. I still remember that.
Oh,
I remember
yeah.
You were you were definitely one of the guys I looked up to, man. So it's cool to be doing this show.
No, yeah, man. No, it's great having you here, brother. And looking spiffy, looking good.
Always looking spiffy. I got 3 compliments actually before I even came here. So
Really?
Yeah, 3.
So where are you going? Just a podcast.
Just a
Okay,
I thought
podcast.
you were going out to a wedding or something.
Where are you going?
the inner city.
To the grocery store. Just going to the
Just taking care of business.
How I dress.
Taking care of business. I take care of business.
So before we get started,
Smoothly.
man, where did this reinvention of this character of like you as a whole? Because I remember you had the religious style gimmick beforehand.
Yes. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, man.
I was gonna say I had started doing the religious gimmick because I broke into POW Entertainment. That's where I originally had started professional wrestling. I began in 2011, and I had my first match 5 months later. And for the first year and a half I was there, I was pretty much just plain black Speedo jobber guy. I had no real pizzazz to William Jacobs. So and I was being told constantly you need some kind of a gimmick. You need something extra, just a little oomph to get over.
Is this Jimmy telling you this?
Well, this was Jimmy. This was I remember Logan Scott was one of them. It was several people that were telling me that you can't just come out with a black Speedo that you can buy from Sports Authority or Dick's Sporting Goods or whatever, throw some knee pads on and expect for people to, buy you as a wrestling superstar. So I came up with the gimmick of the high priest because, people can say whatever they want. I really don't care. I've always considered myself to be a good talker, and I thought, with a priest being constant speakers, it would give me that opportunity to speak. And that actually got me over for a really, really long time. I had gotten success with Sean Priest.
I remember that.
Yep,
yeah.
we were the tag team champions back in 2013, and then I had gone on to Pro Wrestling Blitz, where I had several high-profile matches with Ruff Crossing, who was one of my trainers when I first broke in. You know Ruff. You guys both know Ruff.
Who's that?
Very
Who's
well.
Is that someone we know? That guy's a clown, dude. We don't know.
He's a clown now. That's for sure. Clown. Nobody takes clowns seriously, but no. Anyway, I had several high-profile matches with him and a lot of the other emerging top talent in the Chicagoland area, like Marche Rocket was another one. And just after few years, like, you know, doing the same thing, I found myself super limited in the priest role, you know, because especially when I'm not, you know, Christian myself, I'm actually an atheist.
My man.
Yeah.
Booyah.
Booyah. But I
those
found
knuckles away
myself
from me.
so limited.
Danny
Keep your knuckles away from me,
Danny
both of you
feels like
guys. Okay?
he feels like he's about to get hit by lightning or
It's a
something right now.
keep-
No, there ain't no clouds out right now. But anyway, yeah, I found myself super limited in the role of a priest, like, especially when I'm not religious myself. Like, I found myself, it wasn't something that I was supposed to be doing. And then I actually got a major inspiration, you know, for all the bad, terrible things I say about AEW, and I say a lot. I don't need your job, Tony Khan. Let's get that crystal clear. One of the guys that I took...
I'm going to enjoy this episode.
Shove your job. And shove the job you just gave Ricochet, too. But one of the guys that I took inspiration from was MJF. He's, I believe, the best overall, when you take the presentation of overall presence, personality, technical ability, and just in-ring presence. So he was like the best. And like the way he was doing his interviews and the way he was doing presenting himself was just as, you know, like he sounded like a real human being, and that's what I wanted to be. I always saw myself being like just a low, classless individual, just blown up to this, you know, giant proportion, you know, and that's just
MJF has this like a real guy with real grievances type.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and that's, you know, that's what I kind of, obviously not doing MJF's like exact thing, but that, you know, like that kind of style was what I always kind of envisioned myself being. And I figured, like, you know what, if this kid, you know, he was like 23, 24 at the time. If this 23, 24-year-old kid can do it, I'm going to give it a shot. You know, like I don't have all my life to do my wrestling career. I want to do it, and I want to be proud of what I do. And I've been proud of everything that I've done since I've transitioned into this new version of myself.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when. Sorry.
No, go good.
I remember when you first started posting these videos as Will Emory. I remember going like, "What is going on here?" And they were very captivating because they were not like what I was expecting you to be anymore. You know, like the last memory I had of you was that priest character, and then all of a sudden you came back and you're doing this, and it was nothing like what I remembered you to be. And I thought it was very interesting, and I wanted to hear more of it.
Good. Yeah, that's the idea.
So when you started, you said you were like the generic wrestler.
Generic jobber guy. That was my gimmick.
Yeah. So then, you know, you got the likes of, you know, Jimmy and guys in the locker room telling you to change it up, you know, because no one can buy you as a wrestler.
Yeah.
So now, you know, you went the priest route, but now with this new character, what kind of feedback are you getting from the locker room promoters?
I've been getting, like, honestly, all the feedback that I've been getting has been positive. I can't really think of anybody that said that, you know, I prefer the priest over this. You know, actually, there was one guy who said that he did prefer the priest thing, but I can't remember who it was because his opinion doesn't matter anyway. I've gotten a lot of really positive feedback, and I'm actually really happy to get all the positive feedback that I've gotten, because it just really reinforces that, you know, I have been, because I genuinely take a lot of pride in a lot of, like, all the videos and the way I present myself. Just that I got, you know, dressed up, you know, I get dressed up like this for any time I'm going to be on camera or any sort of, you know, display where the public can see me, because, you know, it's like the new Joker movie says, the world is your stage. And I saw that tagline, and that actually represents how I'm taking my new approach to wrestling. The world is your stage.
It's the old 80s motto, man, like the Ric Flair days. Like, you have to live the gimmick so people can believe the gimmick.
Yeah, exactly. Or at least trick them into believing that you're always living the gimmick.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So if people now, when they see, you know, this new character, do they come up to you and actually believe and think, like, my God, like, you really are this fucking...
You know, I've had a couple of guys, like, I mean, they're intrigued by the suits. The fact that, because I come into, like, all my shows with, like, a different suit and, like, different fancy clothes, like, every single time. So I do get asked, like, if I'm involved in, like, some sort of, like, big business camaraderie or whatever, like, what my actual, like, you know, job is outside of wrestling. But, yeah, nobody thinks I'm an evil gangster or anything, and nobody should because that's not the truth. I promise. I don't have any underground connections. I promise. Hands are clean on this one, ladies and gentlemen. Hands are always clean.
So now, what's like the next like goal for you? Do you want to keep this character? Do you want to evolve this character? Like, where do you see this character evolving to?
Well, I hopefully what I'm seeing is, this really, for all as much fun as I've been having with these videos and like just presenting myself in this new fashion, like this really is just the beginning. Pow has been super incredible and gracious in allowing me to present myself as often and as extensively as I have, but I really plan on evolving it. I really hope to go nationwide or international within the next year and a half. Mm-hmm. I've been reaching out to actually companies about appearing in Italy or Spain or in England, France. I've been looking to wrestle in Europe just because I want to extend the Will Emory brand. I really am. I'm trying to sell the Will Emory brand.
Yeah.
And just make it, when people see the names Steven Spielberg, you see that, okay, Steven Spielberg's directing it, it's going to be good. Okay, Calvin Klein has made this, it's quality material. You see Will Emery's name on a wrestling poster or whatever, that you're going to get an amazing show. And that's what I try to, that's what I'm hoping to evolve it to.
Mm-hmm. Now, what's the difference? Because I remember when you were doing the priest gimmick, you weren't like this committed to it, like the way you are with this. So what's the difference from the priest gimmick and to this? So that made you go full commitment with it.
The full commitment. Well, I mean, as I said earlier, MJF is his commitment to his gimmick was really the spark to get me to get as committed as I am to my gimmick now. But I think the reason why I couldn't really get as totally committed to the priest thing was just because, again, it just wasn't actually something that I personally believed in. It wasn't like an actual. The best wrestlers are really just an overextension of themselves. The high priest was not an overextension of me. It really was, and for all the fun I had with it, it really was, I thought, kind of like a caricature. It wasn't, what people could believe as an authentic human being, and that's, But MJF just, because in 2019, I actually had gotten to where, I had stopped watching wrestling, altogether. I was just kind of I'd been burned out on the priest thing, and I'm just kind of I'm not really feeling this anymore. But, just seeing MJF and just the way he performed, it was a major
it sparked your introspect.
Absolutely, yeah. He's fantastic.
Because there was you stepped away from wrestling for a while.
I had stepped away for a good 2.5 years. Yeah.
And what was you were just burnt out from it?
I was just burnt out from it. I had a lot of bad personal issues that I needed to take care of, and I did by October of 2020, and then I was back in wrestling August of 2022.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you say MJF was the reason you came? Did that spark your interest to come back?
Yes, because before then, I got to be honest, I actually had lost interest in wrestling. Just again, just burnout.
Yeah.
Doing the same thing over and over again. It's just not, you can only do something for so long before eventually it gets stale. And I had not been reinventing myself for quite a long, time period at that time. So
and at that moment, in your mind, were you already completely done with wrestling, or did you already have?
Yeah, I actually was. I was like, I don't think I'll ever do this again. And especially with seeing how AEW and the people who are behind it, how their business model was taking off, that was really tanking my my passion and love for the business, to be honest with you.
What about it? What about it was
this may come as a surprise to both of you, but for as long as AEW has been on television, I have not seen one single episode. Mm-hmm. Not one single episode, because I know exactly who's behind it. We know who the EVPs are, and we know exactly what they do. We know how they carry themselves behind the scenes, and I'm not about that, and I'm not about giving anything like that a chance.
Shooting, baby.
Hey, Tony Khan.
I'm just going to go
That's for you.
I'm going to go and get popcorn.
I don't need your job. Ricochet apparently needed your job, but I don't.
I feel like there's some kind
That's one place that you will never see Will Emory wrestle in is AEW, because I don't feel like dipping my standards.
I feel like there's a personal beef between you and Tony Khan.
What did Tony do, man? What did Tony do?
He ran a terrible football team. That's what he did. And he let two annoying little jagoffs take all of his money and his brain.
I'm gonna go with that. Yes.
I'm gonna go with that. I'm just loving
this.
every second. He's loving every second of it.
Such an AEW hater. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate the alternative in pro wrestling that they're.
I appreciate
boys.
that. Yeah.
But I just can't get past some of the stuff that they do, and it's just it just doesn't appeal to me. And you know, the interesting aspect is that for a long time before AEW was a thing, I loved TNA for such a long time, and then there was moments in time where TNA was just like god awful. And I was like, oh, my God, I don't want this. I hate this. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we still had the for a while we had MLW, but, you know, they kind of went away and then they came back.
And they came back, yeah, you're right.
You always had, like, these, glimpses of other companies that popped up. But TNA was always kind of there, right? And eventually I started kind of liking TNA again. I was like, okay, cool. You know, they're fun. And you could totally tell their production value was way down for what it used to be back in the day.
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely,
and, but that kind of made it really click with me. I was like, I like this low budget version.
No, yeah.
Because it felt very grungy. It felt like they were giving me more bang for my buck. And I was genuinely enjoying it. And then AEW came along, and on paper, I'm like, hell yeah, another wrestling company I'm going to enjoy. There's more wrestling out there for me to love.
Yeah, of course.
And it quickly turned me off really
fast.
Really fucking fast. And I still enjoyed seeing some of the stuff pop up in there, but strangely enough, it made me love TNA more.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really strange. It had a weird effect on me because now I saw myself truly enjoying what TNA was doing because I was like, I'm a WWE guy, but now I'm like really into TNA. And it was so weird because it was a byproduct of AEW turning me off so much.
No, yeah. It really just stems from knowing who's really just behind the wheel in that giant, truck of doom that they're running over there. But that's actually really interesting. And I would say that honestly, outside for a lot of the Russo stuff, I mean, the TNA had actually a very legitimate, fun to watch roster.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really did. And
I mean, look who's in the top now. I've been an LA Knight fan for a long time.
Yes.
And now he's one of the main guys on WWE.
No, he's one of the biggest stars they have. Absolutely.
Eli Drake, when he was doing his stuff there, was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
You have
Joe Hendry's getting over huge.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Exactly. He's gonna be the next major breakout star.
Oh yeah, and all the best to him. I haven't seen all that much of him, but everything I have seen has been.
I'll tell you this much: the song is starting to get on my nerves. I like the guy, and I think that he's got the cheesiest smile. I saw a description the other day.
That's what gets him over.
Yeah, somebody had the best description ever. Is Joe Hendry is literally the equivalent of a Labrador. I'm sorry, a golden retriever who wished to be a human being. And I was like, oh my God, that is so true.
Wow. That's funny.
I was like, this is amazing.
So you said with your character, what sparked you from that is MJF, right?
Yeah.
Now, with your, aside, also with your character, but also your in-ring work, is there other wrestlers that you're pulling from that you're influencing?
Well, yeah, I mean, I really go back to my childhood and my teenage years for the most part. My favorite wrestlers, when I first got into the business was Mick Foley, just because I admired his just all the shit that he was willing to take and just all the stuff that he would take and still just kept fighting back, even though most of the time he would lose. He was just his resiliency and his personality made him my favorite. But as far as my in-ring, I took influence from Kurt Angle. We're not supposed to say his name, but I'll say it anyway. Chris Benoit.
We said it on the last episode.
Oh, well, hell yeah. There we go. Benoit is definitely a guy that I take influence from. Eddie Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero was the perfect mix of a personality, wrestling technical ability. He was the perfect overall package. He should have been a many more time world champion than he was. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But
I think at that time it was just because of his size. I think.
Yeah.
I think so too.
At that time, they focused more.
Yeah.
It was the Vince era. They focused more on size and everything.
I forgot where I read this, but I guess that was the storyline about to happen. Like, he was well on his way to his second run before he passed. So we would have
Yeah.
seen a second run of him as champ. Like, I think Stephanie is the one that said it or something like that. I'm like,
I think, the week that he passed away, like they had a pay-per-view like that coming Sunday, I think at Survivor Series, and then he was supposed to win the world title, I believe, from Batista, like right before they go into like this big, Raw versus SmackDown tag match, and then that's the dissension of how Team SmackDown like implodes, but it never came to be.
yeah. What could have been, because that would have been fun, because I enjoyed him as the champion that he was.
Yes,
My
I
only
did.
take back that I ever had was that his best work always came as a heel, and his run was as a baby. Like, I really wanted to see a heel Eddie win the
Eddie.
championship.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what we were headed to.
Yeah,
That would have
never
been
got it.
great.
Like, his best work has always been as a heel.
Oh,
He
yeah.
is like,
Yeah.
I mean, his baby stuff was great, and obviously sold T-shirts and whatnot, but there's little nuances. Obviously, I do the frog splash, and we talked about like the little things, but
Yeah.
even down to me walking out to the ring, you guys will probably never notice this, and no one ever has a freaking idea that this is what I do. If you guys remember his WCW run when he used to have like his mullet and all
Mullet,
wet, he used to come on and he used to have like this look that he used to stop and stare at people.
Yeah.
He never said a word, but he always had this smug look.
Yeah.
He would walk and he just would stop and mean mug people. That's literally what I do when I go to the ring. I'm literally doing Eddie Guerrero once I walk into the ring. Once I get past the aisle, then I go into my own usual routine, but it's literally Eddie Guerrero the moment I walk out, and it's all WCW Eddie.
Yeah, and facial expressions are huge, and he was fantastic at that too.
Yeah, it's fucking amazing. He was like freaking Picasso when it came to shit like that.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it was. But yeah, Eddie, Angle, Benoit, Bobby Eaton was one that I started to watch a lot more of, like a later after I
Interesting.
first got into the business. He still has the best high knee off the top rope, like ever.
Bobby Eaton is a name that I don't think we've said
No.
ever on the podcast,
Really?
and I am glad you brought him up, dude.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love me some Bobby Eaton.
No, yeah,
man.
he's one of the. He should have been, I thought, like at least a one-time world champion, at least.
So
Yeah.
when you came back after your 2 years, right? You said you were off.
Yeah, 2.5 years. Yeah.
Okay, so then after you came back, who was it that you were looking at, like in the independent circuit, that you're like, I would really like to get in the ring with so and so and so and so?
Man, I would have liked to have gotten in the ring. I still would like to get in the ring with Joey Avalon. I think he's an emerging star, and he always has fierce athletic contests. So I think we would mix well in that regard. He really is, yeah. Yeah. I would like to get back into the ring with Chris Logan at least once if I could, because as the High Priest, we had several contests, and I don't think I ever won a single one of them. So gotta get even. Gotta get even. And I'm suited for to get even now. But yeah, Joey Avalon, Chris Logan. I actually have not ever once worked Yabo in any capacity, whether it was Yabo or Thunderfoot. And he's somebody I think that we could do, fun stuff with.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Who else?
His matches tend to be very oddball type matches.
Oh, yeah,
And
they're
not,
very-
Yeah, not because of his character or anything like that, because of the style that character needs to be presented like.
No,
So
yeah, exactly.
It's definitely a day that is not common in any wrestler's life when you wrestle a Yabo.
No, yeah, ever, yeah.
Your style has to revolve around the style of match that he's going to be put together. So you need to shine in a certain light when you're in the ring with him, but they're always fun matches, man.
Yeah, he's something that he's somebody that I think that we could do a lot of really cool stuff with. And Isaiah Moore is another guy who's up and coming, who I think we could, have a fantastic match with. And yeah, there's a lot of guys that I could,
So now this second time around that you're back, do you feel that love again for wrestling?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You got it back.
Yeah. And, it's funny. It's like it actually started to come back, very ironically as AEW was starting to come down. I don't like your show, Tony Khan, at all. But it actually did start to like just. I did start to feel it again, right? Around that time, like around late 2021, early 2022, and I got my first booking back at WPW up in De Pere. back in August, and then I was only working for them for a while, and then I started to branch out, and then I started working battle-tested pro wrestling and Frontline and Great Lakes Championship Pro Wrestling.
So you were doing just Wisconsin type stuff.
I was only in Wisconsin for quite some time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a reason for that, or just?
Not particularly. Just that's just where I was. Where the cookie was crumbling, I guess.
Okay.
But
when did Jimmy come calling?
we had both attended the same NWA show in Highland Park because the Clowns were the main event, and they were obviously prospects of POW, and they were at the show that night, and so was Jimmy. So then we ended up reconnecting and talking from there. And then that's when Jimmy booked me for the first show after Wrestle Rage, the big show. Which, by the way, the Wrestle Rage this year is coming up pretty soon, November 2nd in Melrose Park. So that should be a killer show, I think, from top to bottom. So
I'm sure you'll be in a great match at that show.
Yeah.
Because you were just in a 3-way, right, for the Midwest title?
No, I had just I did a 3-way up in Wisconsin, up for a hybrid wrestling entertainment, which is what WPW once was, and now it's HWE. I had a triple threat over there, and then I had a triple threat at POW's Beach Bash, but that was not for the Midwest title.
Okay.
Yeah, that was just me kicking ass, is what that was.
So during the moment that now you're getting like reinvigorated to come to wrestling, right? You're watching MJF kick ass. You're getting kind of like that spark. From that moment where you're starting to get that interest back, what is your regimen? Because we know that you're in insane shape. But when is it that the moment that you're like starting to train to get back in there? Because I'm pretty sure it didn't happen where I go, hey, you know what? I really want to do this again. Hey, guys, book me. So I know there was a reinvention moment because at that point in time, this character did not exist.
No, correct.
So what is the process? Where is your mind going like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this different. I'm going to do this. So A, how did that character come? And B, how were you training to then for your comeback?
Well, actually, as far as my training to the comeback, I actually had been training just pretty much just a little bit more extensively than just what I had been doing in my day-to-day life. But only recently, are you guys familiar with the Murph workouts or no?
I don't think so.
All right, well, the Murph workouts were based on a fallen United States Navy SEAL lieutenant, Mark Murphy, who died back in 2005. And he had the regular workout because being in the U.S. military, these guys also have to be in insane shape. He would do 1 mile, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 free squats, and then run another mile. Like all with no water breaks, just all completely in conjunction, man. That works your cardio, that works your leg muscles, that works, your arms, your chest muscles. Like it just, you try to do all of it just as fast as you can, because you're timing yourself for the workout, and that, like, it might not like sound at first hearing to be too terribly intense, but like when you're doing it, when you're
intense.
trying, I was gonna say,
I got tired just listening to it, bro.
No, yeah, like it'll wear you out, like no matter how fit you are cardiovascular, Lee. So.
I can imagine. So the moment you said all that, I was like, yeah, count me out.
How was it getting back into the ring after those 2.5 years?
It was I had been nervous, I think, for the first time, like I think in 3 years, because wrestling. I mean, you guys know full well wrestling's not like riding a bike where it's like, oh, you never forget it. Like you forget shit, and I was really, really nervous, and I was hoping to God that I could portray what I envisioned myself being, and I was nervous that I wasn't going to be able to at first, just because the nervousness of just right before you go out there, just setting in. It was really.
Why were you hoping to God if you're an atheist?
Well, you know what? You got me there. That's just a figure of speech. That's just a figure of speech.
God damn it, Danny.
Sorry, I had to get. I saw an opening. I had to take it. Right.
There's a certain intensity that you're bringing to the ring now that I don't think I remember with the Priest character. Is that something that is by design with the new character?
Yes. I mean, Will Emory is supposed to be like just a super hyper intensive guy. So
Okay, yeah, because like I said, when I tell you
Energy's
this,
always there.
When I tell you this, I'm not bullshitting you because you're here. Like when I saw you perform at POW, I hadn't seen you perform in years, you know?
Years, yeah.
And I go, the fuck? He was gone for this long. You looked great. But beyond that, there was, like I said, there was just an intensity. There's a certain way you were doing moves that were a little bit crisper than usual. There was like a oomph to like certain things you were doing. Like Stone Cold calls it the stank, man. There was some stank in some of the shit you were doing. And I'll go, I did not, I want to say that it wasn't there, but I cannot thoroughly remember if that spring to your step was there during your high priest days. Mm-hmm. But I was very thoroughly impressed. And I remember going back and I told Jimmy, I'm like, dude, this fucking kid's fucking amazing. Like, where the fuck has he been during these 2 years, 2+ years, whatever? But he definitely brought a certain intensity to the POW roster that I really liked.
Thank you. Yeah. And that's what I try to bring. I try to bring, I try to, bring everybody's intensity up, especially if they're going to be, in there with me. I try to make it, as intense a match as I can, because when I watched wrestling as a fan, that's the matches I always enjoyed, were the ones that were always, it was a super intense, like, an evenly matched almost conflict. Mm-hmm. So
I'm curious. So when there's not a camera on you and the suit and the hat are off and you're just at home, who is Will?
Will is a guy who normally is wearing a Foghorn Leghorn T-shirt with a black Jewel Osco jacket and commanding a bunch of lackeys in the bake shop. And making incredible plates as well.
I was just going to say that. I bet you, however, that he still hates AEW.
Take a guess, folks. Take a guess, folks.
I think both of those guys don't particularly care for Tony, which I'm fine with. It's cool.
Well, you said making good plates. You are a chef, correct?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Correct.
And how long has that been? Have you always been into cooking?
Well, no. I actually I had gotten into cooking because I just when I got into wrestling, I needed to have some sort of like career that I could do while I was doing wrestling. But the problem was I wanted a field that was where it was easy to find a job, and there was like a whole bunch of career choices all over the place. But I mean, the busiest times for restaurants and hotels and things like that are the weekends, and that's when obviously the wrestling shows are running. So that didn't mesh well with me, but I still went through the CLC, the College of Lake County, for those wondering, their culinary program, and I really was just doing it for just to have just a side career. But I actually got impassioned about cooking through Gordon Ramsay's videos.
Okay.
I was watching some of his online his duck recipe or whatever, like his honey glazed duck, I think is what it was. And then I started watching Hell's Kitchen from there, and that further extended my passion for cooking. Because actually at CLC, they were not really, when they found out that I was there to get like my cooking degree as like a side thing and that I wasn't like fully passionate about cooking, they, like the rest of the students and the instructors, they did not really take kindly to me, to put it mildly.
So you were even a heel at school.
I was a heel at school. I'm a heel at all times, ladies and gentlemen. Even at CLC, they hated me. I just didn't make as much money over there.
But then, you do the cooking because, man, I see your social media, man. Your plates look fucking, man, she looks fucking good as hell. I'm like, damn. So, what are some meals that you personally like to cook? That
I like to cook? Well, I would say that right now, salmon is my favorite protein to cook. I've been really huge on Asian cuisine lately. So what I've been doing lately is I'll take like a piece of salmon and I'll get like a nice sear on it, and I'll finish it with like an Asian barbecue sauce along with some Thai rice noodles with some vegetables, and that's just, it hits a spot with some sesame oil.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like to cook like all sorts of cuisine, and I also like to just let my imagination run wild. Actually, like one of my original plates that I came up with, I call it Harvest Moon mussels, because one of my favorite plates of all time actually is a tomato-based bouillabaisse. I'm not sure if you guys know what that is, but it's basically like a tomato-based like seafood soup. Like it's got like shrimp and lobster and mussels and clams and everything, and it's almost like a fish, like a seafood, like a soup almost, with a sourdough, like a crostini in there, obviously to soak up the tomato broth. Yeah. Well, my favorite time for cooking is autumn. Like I love autumn flavors, like fall harvesty kind of flavors. So I took the tomato-based, bouillon-based concept, and instead of tomatoes, I made it like a roasted spiced pumpkin base. And I did it with mussels, clams, shrimp, and it was pancetta, peas, a little bit of liquid smoke in there, along with a little crostini, and I thought it went. I got good reviews on it from everybody who tasted it. So I mean, I don't know how that sounds to you guys. I mean, obviously everybody's
Sounds delicious.
everybody's taste buds are different. Everybody prefers different things. But I mean, I like to be original, and that's one of the things that I was proud to have come up with.
Now, after wrestling, do you feel like you could see yourself like a Gordon Ramsay, like
fully committing to that to being?
I mean, like once my wrestling career is done, yes, I do. I've had experience in professional kitchens. I've worked at Hawthorne Woods Country Club as a line cook for 3 years. So I mean, I've gotten used to like the setup and like needing to like what we need to make sure everything's ready for service and like the big parties and everything. But obviously, I was only just the line cook. I'm not like the big head honcho in charge. And like my focus is obviously like on wrestling and just building my brand essentially. Mm-hmm. So, but I mean, yeah, like once wrestling is over with, I could see myself becoming a culinary superstar, just like a wrestling superstar.
That's how you got to finish your wrestling career as
a wrestling superstar. That's what I'm aiming towards. Yeah, absolutely.
The culinary superstar, the culinary wrestling superstar.
Culinary wrestling superstar,
cook all over your ass.
World-renowned superstar in almost all fields that you see me in.
So earlier I mentioned I asked you a question, but I think we got sidetracked on the answer or something. Walk me through the creative process of the Will Emory character when you were sitting at home ready to make your comeback.
Oh, man. Well, first of all, like Will Emory, like I didn't want to be any sort of caricature. Like I wanted to, anytime I was going to speak on a camera, to be how like just I can't say normal because that's not exactly like what it is, but like how anybody could envision somebody that nobody likes to be talked to like they're being put down, but like I wanted to take like that concept and like put people down, but just in a way that people could actually like relate to, like at a job or whatever, or people like on television.
You put a lot of emphasis on your American dog tag.
The dog tag. This is a over $1,000 pendant is what this is. This is
I saw that.
This is diamonds, rubies, sapphires, and sterling silver is what this is, ladies and gentlemen.
I remember during the promos when I first saw you were ready to do your comeback. Yeah. That kept being the emphasis of your promo.
Yeah, the just the epitome of American excellence. Yeah, absolutely.
There you go.
Yep.
So where did that come from?
Well, I mean, like as I was piecing together like the gimmick, like actually the hat was one thing that I actually didn't have originally, but I was piecing together like accessories to like make Will Emory, the wrestling gimmick, look as extravagant as I wanted it to be. And so I found this pendant that had like all the various like stones and everything. I thought that would be a cool thing just to base it off of. So I went originally off of that, and then eventually it just snowballed to where I just tried to get the fact that I wear all these chains, over, and the fact that I'm a G and a superstar and all that, which is true 100% anyway, so...
Okay. When you were testing the character, who was the first person to view that, and what kind of critique did they give you? Was it your girlfriend or? No,
actually, I would say it was probably WPW because they were the first people that I started doing regular promos for. Yeah, I mean, anytime I cut a promo for them, I didn't really hear anything negative that I needed to like change like my tone or the way I was speaking. Yeah, I would say it was for WPW. So
you definitely stand out because most people aren't putting this. What's the best word I can say? They're not committing, like Danny said. They're not committing 100% to their character.
Yeah.
And above committing, you've invested into this character because not a lot of people. One thing is to invest in your gear.
Yes, 100%. And that's one big thing that I can't stand is when people come out through the curtain and they're wearing like just, like shorts or like a t-shirt because, it worked for John Cena or it worked for Mick Foley. It'll work for me too. No, those guys are once in a lifetime attractions. They're not you. Just because it worked for them doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So, but yes, I 100% believe in investing to make yourself presented as what you want to be presented as.
With the amount of suits that you rock and the jewelry that you rock, you're probably one of the most expensive characters in the indies right now.
Yes.
And the promos that you've done. Another cool little like tweak that you've added, and this is value to the promoter, not necessarily to the character, but it does lend a little bit. Is that you've funded your own posters for certain matches?
Yes, I have. Yes,
and I think that's fucking awesome.
Really, I didn't know that.
Yeah. No, yeah. Like if you go on my Instagram page, you'll find a poster of a Fatal 4 match that I was having that involved myself, GQ, Quinn Whittick, and Mason Perks, and then. Actually, pretty recently on my Instagram page, at the Will Emory. Follow me right now if you know it's good for you. If you look on my Instagram page, you'll actually see. I think it's right now the second post. It's like an animated graphic where it's me and Axel Rico for the Midwest Championship.
And then you did those?
Those were made by Calvin Perkins, DeCobra,
okay.
who is a super super talented graphics artist. It's at CP Arts and Graphics is what I believe his Instagram handle is. And he's done the poster, he did the animated art, and yeah, every time I've invested art with him, it's been top notch.
So where did that idea come through? As far as like, hey, I'm gonna do my own posters to like add value to the match.
No, yeah,
because it definitely made. The first one I saw was that 4-way.
The 4-way, yes.
And I remember seeing that, and I asked Jimmy. I was like, Jimmy, where did you get this done? He goes, that wasn't me. He's like, that was Will who did this. I said, wow, this is awesome. And helping Jimmy behind the scenes, I was very appreciative of that. I was like, that's really, really cool that he was willing to do this for the better of the company.
Yes.
And now you've done it a couple times, and I think it adds a unique flavor, a unique thing to the match. Because
I always try to make myself stand out, even little small things like that. It's just that little extra. Again, the world is your stage. Make it mean something. I'm trying to stand out and be unique and just let my creativity show when I can.
So what other ideas do you have to invest in yourself and use your creativity to your own
well
advantage?
Actually this one is actually not for wrestling. Actually, this one actually does go back to culinary. I actually do have plans to start a cooking channel very soon. Actually, you will be seeing because I actually have 5 different videos where I have like all the shots of me cooking everything, and I just have to just put it all together and edit it all together. And then there's going to be another like a semi-regular bit that I have planned, which is going to be called the Milwaukee Avenue Review. Mm-hmm. In Libertyville, Illinois, Milwaukee Avenue is stacked for quality restaurants. Like a Perry's just opened there recently. There's a whole bunch of just phenomenal restaurants in Milwaukee Avenue in Libertyville and Vernon Hills, Illinois. And I will be reviewing some of the restaurants, actually, and I will be doing it with a flavor, much like the flavor that they provide me with when I order my
character.
Food. What do you think?
Because that'd be hilarious.
Yes.
Will Emory just walked into the restaurant. Oh, snap, son. Oh, find me the best seat, bitch.
That's awesome. No, because I deliver in Libertyville and Vernon Hills, and yeah, I'm always down in Milwaukee, and yeah, they got a lot of nice.
It's always popping. It's never ever dead. Like I except on like a Monday, pretty much.
Yeah, but no, yeah, they got a lot of nice restaurants down there, especially like downtown Libertyville, right there in Milwaukee.
Yeah, that one little
Yeah, so then, going, staying on your culinary, what kind of Mexican dishes do you make?
Actually, I have yet to make a chile relleno. That's one of my favorite Mexican dishes is a chile relleno. I have never actually made one myself.
Okay.
But I like to make. Have you guys had duck tacos?
I don't think I have.
No.
No, they're interesting. I mean, like if duck's not for you, then I'll tell you straight up, then you're not gonna like it. But because like duck has a gamey flavor.
I've never tried duck.
Duck, if you can get past the gaminess, it's like the absolute perfect combination of like the flavors of chicken and beef in one protein.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, duck tacos.
Is duck high in protein?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, like if you take the skin off of a duck breast, it's like one of the healthiest pieces of meat that you could be eating. So.
Really? I did not know that.
No, yeah. If you can find duck over at Mariano's, you can find it at Whole Foods. I think Jewel actually might still sell whole duck frozen, and I think that if they do, then that would be your best value to get it. But duck is super versatile, and it's actually one of my favorite things to cook. Duck breast.
Is that your comfort food? Like, what's your go-to when you're sitting at home about to watch Monday Night Raw? Because I know you don't watch wrestling on Wednesdays.
No, fuck
But
no.
when you sit at home and you're watching the best show on cable, what is that meal that you're cooking for yourself?
Well, what I'm cooking for myself, I'm going back to it earlier. Like I've been eating a lot of Asian recently, so I've been eating like a lot of like teriyaki salmon, or I'll be eating like a stir fry noodles with like some like Thai chili sauce or whatever, and like some vegetables. That's been super like, and like it's healthy too. I would say that those Asian food lately just in general has been my go-to for after days meal.
So when you're meeting women out there, your girlfriend, what was it when you were like, hey, by the way, I'm a chef and I'm a pro wrestler?
Man, I'm trying to think of how I actually met my girlfriend, like how that whole conversation even came up. Like she came up because I was actually in before I started bossing people around in the bakery. I was just one of the regulars in the bakery, and she came in and she started working, and we started talking through there. And actually, we just connected through just the just general life interests in general. And actually, she actually hadn't had much to do with wrestling at all, like until we started dating. So. But she thought the fact that I did wrestling was super cool. She was super excited to come to my first show. I actually took her to her very first WWE show, and then ever since, she's been coming to the POW shows are her favorite. And ever since she's been coming to POW shows, she's been like hooked on watching like all, like even if though it's not POW, like just all the wrestling, like the stuff that like Rhea Ripley's doing, because she's a world-renowned superstar, and just
Who's her favorite POW superstar right now?
Right now on WWE, God,
I'm saying on POW.
Oh, on POW? Myself.
Besides you.
Besides me. Oh, my God.
She says Trevor.
Come on now. Really? Yeah, exactly. Oh, my God. Who? Besides myself, I mean, because I'm the creme de la creme, so that kind of really narrows it down.
I know.
I would say my favorite is probably Quinn Whittock has been coming in, and he's been tearing down the house in every single match that he's been in recently. And he's another guy that I haven't been in the ring with that I'd love to tear the house down with.
You guys were in that four-way together.
We were in the four-way, but we've never had a singles though.
No, Quinn is a very unique individual in the ring.
He always brings quality with him wherever he goes.
Yeah, he moves like a guy that wouldn't expect him to move that way.
No, exactly. Yeah,
he's a very interesting guy to see in the ring, and a match with you and him would be really fun. Like a really awesome kick-ass program with you two.
I think the two personalities would clash. I think like $1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that would be great. I think I'd pay to see that. I'd pay to see both of you guys go at it. Now, we when you walked in the door, we talked about GQ. Mm-hmm. He was hurt in a match in the four-way.
In the four-way match,
and
yes.
I remember freaking out and going out there and checking on.
Yes.
When something like that happens in the ring and you are involved in those particular matches, what did that do to your psyche?
Well, I mean, like it always just sucks. Like no matter who you're in the ring with, like anytime like anybody just gets really seriously hurt, like it really brings you like down to earth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It really puts us into perspective that hey, this guy's this is going to affect his livelihood. This is going to affect like his family and his kids and just his overall health. Like who knows how long the injury is going to be? Because like I didn't realize it was a cracked hip until I think Jimmy Blaze posted on Facebook the day. Yeah, and like when I saw that, I'm just like, God damn, really? And because I remember like we had worked the first time and I wanted to work again like a second time in a singles, which I think eventually it was going to build to that eventually. But he cracked his hip just right on the dive, and like even though like we're competitors, we're always in the competitive spirit. Like I immediately do the X thing because he's the man's hurt. The man's this is as as serious as it gets. Yeah, like So it brings you down to earth, and like it really just makes you feel bad for anybody that has to go through that. Like even if it is somebody that you don't personally like, you should still. We're all wrestlers, and we're all people say that like, oh, we call ourselves one family. Well, we really are one big wrestling family. We really should just look out for one another.
Yeah.
And it just sucks whenever that happens. So.
So then, I'm curious about is when you were coming up with the Will Emory character, was there another character that you were? Was it always just this character, or was there other characters that you were going through in your head?
Will Emory, like how I'm presenting myself now, was like the predominant way I wanted to feature myself. But I honestly, like when Bray Wyatt was still, this was like late 2019. I was intrigued by his like the Fiend versus like the kids show host thing. I was like intrigued by like the split personality presentation. Like I didn't want to do it like that, but I did have kind of like to do like a fortunate son and the unfortunate son kind of thing. So that was kind of something that brewed in my head, but I kind of just canned it because I'm happy doing what I'm doing right now. So
coming up with 2 characters is a lot harder than coming up with one.
Yeah,
and fully
absolutely.
committing to that one, because now you have to fully commit to 2
Both of them.
characters.
Yep.
Completely different things. No, I'm glad you ended up sticking to your guns there with the Will Emory character.
yeah, me too.
So now that you're fully invested into this character, you've officially are basically in the full swing of things. You're
swing.
coming back. Now, what is your immediate goals for this character? We already talked about you saying you want to take it international, but within this next year or so, where do you see yourself and what do you want to accomplish with this character?
What I want to accomplish is what anybody in the wrestling business should want to accomplish, and that's be the best that you can possibly be in every promotion that you step foot into. I want to be the guy that everybody, wants to wrestle. I want to be the guy that everybody wants to, like if you really want to test your in-ring ability, then you get in there with Will Emory. And I'm hoping to, usually that's displayed by being the top guy in the company, by having the top championship. And that's what I'm aiming for in every company that I go for. Because if you're not aiming to be the best, then really, who are you? So.
And what's funny is that I joked earlier about you having a 12-pack, which you do. Abs of Steel, this fucking guy.
Abs of Steel.
But you're also a chef, so being
Superman's a big Will Emory mark, I hear. Henry Cavill, or whatever the fuck your name is, I don't care.
Cavalrine.
Yeah.
So
he's jealous.
So how do you stay in such good physical shape? One, being a chef. I think you're constantly just eating.
Well, yeah,
foods.
you constantly have to taste test everything.
Yeah. So so how do you stay healthy, or being as fit as you are? Being a chef, being around food all the time.
Well, it's also when you also have to keep in mind that when you're in the culinary field, like you also do happen to be standing like on your feet like all freaking day, like sometimes from 10 a.m. to like midnight or whatever it is. So like you're always on your feet, and like depending on like how many orders are coming in, like you're always like sweating your ass off in that hot ass kitchen. So there'll be times when even if you're eating a lot, like just because of like how much you're sweating and like just how you have to constantly pumping out all these dishes that like that's calorie burning in and of itself. But I mean, like, you got to take your physical condition seriously. Like I was telling you earlier about the Murph workouts. It changed the way I work out for a while, and but I honestly stay away from a lot of beef and pork. I eat a lot of like chicken, fish, shrimp, a duck if I can, because duck is like, again, I've said it earlier, it actually is like one of the healthiest meats that you can be eating between the fat, protein, distribution or separation or whatever. But yeah, I don't eat bullshit processed food. I don't really eat like potato chips. I don't eat like any like desserts really. I don't really do any like the bullshit like the little like Fat Debbie snack cakes or whatever the fuck they're called. I'm not like I'm always looking at what the next show is, and I need to be prepared for whatever the next show is, and I always keep my image in mind. Like I'm very, very self-conscious about my image. So like if it means not having to eat, like if only like disgusting fattening food is around, then I'll just starve myself if it means staying away from it.
That's dedication,
I was
brother.
about to say, yeah, it's good willpower right there.
Yeah,
good
willpower.
right there.
I see what you did there. I see what you
see
did
what
there.
you did.
See that? No, yeah, it's because you've been in this shape ever since you got in the business, man. I remember.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was a little skinnier, than I am now, but yeah.
Yeah, because so you always been good at keeping yourself healthy and in shape and all that. Yeah, like I said, even when you broke in, I remember. Yeah, you were always, you were a little skinnier, but you still, you were still shredded.
Yeah.
Kept a good physique. So that's dedication, man.
Yeah, thank
good
you.
for you. And how old are you?
I turned 31 in June.
Fuck, man.
How old are you?
Danny,
I just
I don't know
turned-
why you keep asking that question.
I just
Danny.
turned 40.
You just turned 40. Oh,
Danny
yeah.
asked.
He said, "Oh man, what's
Honestly, like if you asked me, I would have said like 34, 35. So
See,
yeah.
there we
Well,
go.
he's 44.
Motherfucker, 41. Adding more years. But this is the funniest thing is that Danny goes, "How old are you, man?" And then everyone's always younger than Danny, and so it's like, "Oh, this."
'Cause I'm hoping someone will be like around my age or at least like a year off. But like, yeah, like you and and yes, sir. When I just asked 32, I'm like, "Fuck, man." I'm like, "Damn it." Because that's I remember.
I still got like hopefully like another like 10, 15 years left in my wrestling career. Hopefully, so we'll see.
And how long do you see yourself going another 10, 15 years?
Yes, I do.
If your body permits.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Considering the shape that you've remained in this entire time, I don't see that being a thing.
No,
I can
yeah.
definitely see you actually doing that.
Yeah.
You've kept in better shape than most people as injuries happen as they get out of shape and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, what would you say? We are all wrestling fans here of the better company, and we remember, for example, you mentioned Shawn Michaels. Shawn had two careers. His when he went away after his back injury and whatnot. So I forgot what announcer said this at one point in time. They're like, man, both of his careers are Hall of Fame worthy. It's like if he never came back and he just had this one career, he'd still be in the Hall of Fame. He never had the first one and only had the second one. He'd still be in the Hall of Fame. Now, I say that in comparison because I feel like your two characters are two separate careers.
Oh, interesting. That's an interesting way to look at it. Yeah.
Not only character-wise, but because you had a nice gap in between where you were burnt out, completely done with the business, and now then there was a reinvigoration of your love. What is your favorite memories so far for each of those characters?
For each of those characters, I would say for the High Priest era, I would say was getting my first big match with Rough Crossing in Pro Wrestling Blitz. When I first broke into the business, like Rough Crossing was the guy that I idolized. Like he was the guy that I really looked up to more than anybody else.
We need to stop gripping that man's nuts, man. That guy gets
I'm
talked
not
about on
gripping
this
any
show
nuts.
way too much. Fuck that guy.
We're not talking about it anymore. He don't want to come on the podcast. We're not talking about it
Oh,
anymore.
well, yeah,
God.
we'll just gloss over that then.
Love you, Gruff.
No, he was
Rough
like
daddy.
He was like that.
Yeah,
for
no,
all of
because
us,
he and I had like I think at that point like the best match that I had ever had. Like that was my very first time working like a good 15, 20-minute match, whatever it was, and like I really solidified that I could hang in there. Especially when I was at Blitz, I had only been there for like a couple of months at that point. So being as new as I was and solidifying that I am, worthy of a main event spot was very, very, very gratifying. Even at being at that point only 21 years old. But coming back, I would say my favorite memory, I would say. I mean, the match with GQ was fantastic when I first came back to POW. Like just coming back to POW, I think in general, I think that may have been it. It may
The double pin one, right?
Yeah, the double pin. Yeah. That honestly, like the match was fantastic, but just the experience of being back at where I was, and it being better than it was before, I left. That in and of itself was just a magical feeling, and the crowd was packed and like super, super on fire, like for everything that night.
You guys were the opening match.
We were the opening match, and they were on fire for everything. And I
Yeah.
thought we set a good, an excellent
pace for the match.
Pace
for
for
the show.
pace for the show,
For the
yeah.
show,
Yeah.
For the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember running to Jimmy and I go, I need to see more of that match. Because I immediately after they had their match and it ended up in a double pin, I was like, we need to book them and we need to make sure that this is a recurring feud with them. because they definitely tore the friggin' house down, and that was the first match of the night. I remember just going like, well, fuck the rest of you guys.
I hate who's going on next. Right? I feel sorry for you guys.
I hope that by the time the main event comes on, they forgot all about this shit.
No, but yeah, what was awesome, again, they were hot for everybody. They loved everything as far as I remember on that show. And it was like that whole, I wasn't at Wrestle Rage the previous year, but from what I was told, like that show was even better than that year's Wrestle Rage. So, because like honestly, like with the crowd reaction and like how great everything felt that night, just it really probably was.
That was Rage Reaction?
Rage Reaction, yeah, that's what it was.
Okay. Yeah.
Pow's been running on friggin' all cylinders last couple of years. I feel like this has nothing to do with the sellouts, but we've had some quality matches.
Yes.
We've had entertaining matches, and they're different. They're the comedies aspects of it. Not every match has to be a 5-star match.
No, not every match. Yeah, and there's a little bit of different style in every single match in POW Entertainment, which makes POW Entertainment, one of the best shows in the Midwest to watch. It really does. Yeah,
it gives you a little bit of everything. Sometimes I go to shows and they're very heavy on the lucha style.
Yes.
And they don't give you a whole lot of, psychology and other matches. So you always feel like it was a fun entertainment show, but it lacked a little bit something.
Yeah.
I feel like that we put on at Power Shows, we put on one of the most well-rounded shows out there.
Well-rounded is the best way I would describe it, yes.
Yeah, and you're definitely pulling the wagon, man, with a lot of the good matches that you're having, because it eases off of what the other guys have to do, because then they don't have to go out there and bust that kind of match. They can concentrate on something else and give the fans a little bit something different.
Yeah, exactly.
What's your goals, man, to accomplish before you
kick the bucket?
Yeah, not kick the, but yeah, before you finish your career.
Like I said earlier in the podcast, like, when people see the name, like, Steven Spielberg or directed by Steven Spielberg, they know it's quality. Like, I want to like have like a nationally, or if possible even internationally recognized name. Just Will Emory. When you see Will Emory, it's quality. Like, and I want to have a career, and I'm aiming to have a career that is reflective of that. I'm hoping to win more championships where I go. I'm hoping to wrestle more states. I've been trying to reach out in Texas, in California, even New York, and hopefully get as many wins, championship belts as I can, and just get as many opportunities to showcase myself as I can. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
I can see that happening, man. Like I said, this new reinvention of yourself, man, it's definitely it's more noticeable than the Priest.
Than the Priest, yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah.
And like with all due respect to Sean Priest, like I'm really happy with what I'm doing now, and like I'm sure he's super happy with what he's doing now too.
Yeah, the Voodoo
guy, yeah, absolutely.
I think we got to see a Will Emory and Sean Priest match.
Yeah, hey,
I would love to see that in what we're having now. And then give a little bit of takes of the old characters for just for shits and giggles. You know? That would be a really, really fun, interesting match. But one of you guys will have to be a baby. So who knows? Who knows who's gonna give?
Yeah.
Set it up, Bruce.
I know. Set it up, Bruce. Set it up, Bruce. So earlier we touched on Danny talked about how you've always been in insane shape. If tomorrow an Iron Man match were to be pitched for you, because I think physically you have the endurance to do it. Mm-hmm. Who would your dream opponent be for said match?
For an Iron Man match, I think I'm, and I'm not gonna say like this is like a set answer, because like who I want to wrestle is like always like going back and forth. Yeah. But I mean, I would say right now, Joey Avalon. He, I think, paces himself super, super well. His matches like are always very, again, intense. Like it's never like one person has control for a good segment of the match. It's always like a good
back and forth.
Yeah. And I feel like we could deliver 1,000% if we did go 30 minutes or 60 minutes. But I mean, like I feel that way with anybody. I really feel like I could, like if you put me in an Iron Man match, if Jimmy Blaze came to me and said, "Hey, Will, I got you in an Iron Man match coming up September 6th," I'm immediately getting myself ready for it, and because that's that's my chance again to the world is your stage, and I'm there to show that the world is my stage and that the company is also my stage. So
Curious, what's your favorite cheat meal?
what's my favorite cheat meal, man? I love Emel's roasted chicken. That's a good cheat meal. Chicken wings with like a nice smoky barbecue sauce or a teriyaki sauce.
Chicken wings sound good right now.
Yeah, they do.
They do.
They do sound really. It is Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are cheat meals on Sunday for you?
No, I mean, people are usually watching like a sports game. Usually they'll have like the wings or like some kind of like a food like that accompanied when they're watching the game. So,
What sport do you like to watch besides wrestling?
I honestly I do like soccer more than I like baseball and football and basketball and all that. I just it's the world's game.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I also played soccer as a kid, so I do have a little bit more of an attachment for that reason. Like even though I got out of soccer as a kid, really because I was just completely focused on wrestling. So that's just I was.
Yeah, because when you came in, how old were you? When
He was
when,
young.
Yeah,
I was 17 years old.
17.
17 years old.
Wow, shit.
So what kind of blessing did you get from your parents for that? Because at 17 years old, if I would have told my mom, hey, I'm going to go wrestle, she would have been like, hijo de la chingada madre. She would have been like, nope.
No, yeah. Well, I had told my parents that I want to be a wrestler like ever since I was like 6, 7, however old I was. I mean, like Mick Foley captivated me, and like that really just drove me to the whole product in general. But I mean, like, yeah, I was saying that I want to be a wrestler. I want to be a wrestler like since I was a little kid. But like when I was a teenager, I started like actually like looking up schools, and like OVW it was in Louisville, and they were at the time WWE's developmental territory. So my plan was to go to college over at University of Louisville, and just so I could get to OVW. And then they broke off the partnership deal, and then I started looking for more schools that were like around the Illinois area. Thankfully, I didn't have to go to a WCPW since that was actually, as it turns out, dying at that time.
Yeah.
And POW was much closer, and they had very quality trainers. So
As we start winding down here, Will, I'm curious. So now, which wrestlers, like independent wrestlers, like you said, when you stepped in the ring with a Rough Crossing, that was like big for you because you looked up to Rough.
Yes.
Right. Is there anyone today that you look up to in the independents that you want to get in the ring with because of
as far as honestly, and here's the thing, like as far as straight up look up to, I'm gonna be honest, really no. There's lots of guys that I would love to get in the ring with, that I would love to like test my wrestling skills with, like in the most like as best I can. The way to get better is to wrestle people that are better than you.
Right.
So I try to find people that are better than me, but you know what? Sometimes that's just really, really fucking hard. It's really hard. I don't look up to anybody. I look up to myself.
So there's no one that you want to get in the ring with, or that. Like,
Oh well, I mean, there's plenty of guys I want to get in the ring with. It's just that as far as like just straight up looking up to, I mean, I would say right now
What
at the
about
moment, I would say no.
Ruthless Ramon Rodriguez?
Hey, there's a match right there.
that's a match right
He's got
there.
to get his ass back out of retirement, huh?
Nah.
I actually, hey, you were one of the guys that I look up to when I first got into the business.
You said you helped train him, right? That's what you said.
Yeah, because I would be
Yeah.
in the practice with him too. We all be in practice together, but I would like help out with him.
Yeah,
a lot,
Danny helped out with me, but like the three primary trainers, like when I first got there, was Rough Crossing, Marco Cordova, and Scott Spade were the three primary like designated trainers.
Yeah.
But I mean, like all the guys who were
for a short period of time.
Oh, wow.
And,
Wow. Short joke to
Ben-
Cordova, huh?
Like, what? No.
But yeah, I remember like yourself and Ben Kanoa, like like even though you guys weren't like the actual like designated trainer, like you were still veterans, and you would help like the young guys, like as they were trying to like learn their stuff and learn their basics and
I
everything.
remember you being really young, but I don't remember 17. Shit. Wow.
Oh, yeah, I was 17 going on 18. I turned 18 June 18th of 2011, and I signed up in February 8th of 2011. So
Wow.
So for a few months, you were beating up an underage kid, bro.
I was.
That's child abuse.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Hey, I'd abuse a child.
There's
I have in the ring many times.
there's a video you just recently posted, or what, I can't remember if it was a video or a picture, but you catered a party for your mom.
Yes, yes, that was actually a super exciting event. Yeah, she had 3 small plates where it was like a little like tasting party is what she was doing, and like it was just her and her friends like just getting together and like they're in like my mom's backyard with like her garden and everything, and just enjoying like drinks and like little plates. And yeah, I made like an angel hair pasta that was like tossed in a basil oil with like some scallops and lobster and shrimp, and that was the first course. And then followed by that, we had an eggplant tower, a grilled eggplant tower, not a fried one. And then we capped it with some sliders that had Will's famous bacon onion jam and some cheddar cheese.
Nice. And all this for a little backyard party.
All that for a little backyard party.
All that for mama.
All that for mama, because I love my mother.
Please tell me you slipped on the bill, though. Here you go, Mom. This is how much,
Mom.
Yeah.
this is how much you owe me.
Happy birthday. Here you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of that, just a little bit. I got a little money for that, but we're not going to discuss numbers, okay?
Like, hey, Ma, here you go.
I'm just curious. What do your parents
But
say?
all I'll say is that my services, whether they are in culinary or in wrestling, my services don't come cheap. So.
I'm kind of curious. What do your parents say about the Will Emory character?
Oh, they love it. They love it. Yeah, they think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, our son's a dick.
Yeah.
We love it.
but
He's
love it.
our dick.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly the way they look at it.
Dude, I remember a promo you just put out for Pow. I think you just put out like they came out this week or something.
Oh yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
it's just like the camera straight up at his fucking ass of his little tights and shit. I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is this?
I haven't seen it yet.
No, dude. I'm like,
Hey,
what
take
the?
a look at it.
I'm like, Will,
Try not to get hard.
I'm like,
please.
Will, what kind of?
Try not to. Because the very first shot, the very first thing you're looking at is the 2 cakes in the back of my
Dude,
and they are cakes.
I was like, Will, what kind of poured up shit you putting out here, bro? What the fuck?
It got heat. It got heat, man.
He's even got a little arch and shit. I'm like, what the fuck am I watching?
Cheeks.
Well, it's funny because actually one of the things that the Jimmy Blaze was recently talking to me about was on the ass of one of my trunks is written Will's World, and he said that I think that'd be cool if you made that a thing. So I decided fuck it, I'll just go ahead and just use the back of my tights and just use that as the start of the promo.
Yeah.
And it got heat.
Did you film that promo yourself, or
Yes.
did you? Because dude, that would have been hilarious if Hetford would have been like, God damn it. How long do I have to stare at it, Will?
Dude, he's like outside, like standing in the grass and shit.
Oh yeah, right by this pretty pond that's by my apartment. So.
Imagine the fucking neighbors looking outside. What the fuck is he doing?
Oh, I'm sure I got some stairs, but I don't give a shit. So.
That's hilarious. Dude.
Dude, you gotta watch it.
Go ahead and watch it. Yeah,
because obviously
Try not to get hard.
when
Watching it,
Yeah,
and just
you might.
fucking sweating. Try not to get aroused. God damn it, Will! What that Simpsons episode? Damn sexy Flanders.
damn sexy
It's
man.
awesome.
It's gonna be like that. God
Yeah.
damn sexy
See,
Will.
Yeah, I haven't seen The Simpsons in so long. So long.
They're predicting the future, bro.
They know they are.
They're predicting the future.
Yeah.
They did with the Flanders on him.
I don't got a mustache though.
There you go. Oh, that's what's that.
You have laughed at
There
me
you
for
go,
the
dude.
last diddly ass time.
See,
A
you got
mustache with this character actually is not far fetched.
do it,
No,
yeah,
I do it.
bro.
No, actually,
Do it, little porn stash. Fuck yeah, dude.
Like
well, I mean, somebody still has that gimmick right now over at
yeah.
Peter Schwann's in
Yeah,
Wisconsin.
Peter Schwann's
No, I
porn
mean,
stash.
don't call yourself porn stash. I'm saying just do it. Get the little porn stash. You know.
I think a very sophisticated mustache.
I
would
do
be
have a
awesome.
porn stash actually. It's just all of German porn, is what it is.
That'd be great because I just pictured the promos with Cody. Remember when he was doing the manscaping
Yeah.
with
Yes.
the mustache? But like, imagine that in his was always like elegant about it. Imagine that in a cocky way where you're like,
Well, look at fucking Dom Mysterio.
Yeah.
His fucking
Yeah.
mustache, and they,
Oh, Dom's fantastic.
yeah.
his is a dirty stash one. But you got oh my god, I forgot his name. He's wrestled before. The last real man. What was it?
Silas Young?
Silas Young.
Yeah, dude, he's great too. He's somebody that I've never been in the ring with. He's somebody that I'd like to tear it up with too.
Silas is ageless, man.
Dude, he really is ageless. Like, I
That
mean, like,
guy,
how old is that guy?
Dude, he's up there, and he's a guy that he doesn't do much in the ring.
No,
but
he doesn't.
But by design,
He makes everything. He makes every little thing that he does mean something, though.
Yeah, I agree 110%. And the mustache on him makes him look that much more meaner.
No, yeah.
And I think a mustache on the Will Emory character would be
Fire.
It's just something like just hilarious. I think it would be amazing, man.
Well, I mean, like it's fitting for Silas Young because I mean, like he's the last real man in wrestling is his thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, it kind of fits that whole persona I think too. Yeah,
I agree.
I mean, like with this, I mean, my thought process with like the whole chains thing was to be more like the clean cut, like almost like not pretty boy, but I mean like just you know how like the Chicago gangsters were like never had like facial hair.
Right.
So that's kind of what I was going for.
Okay.
Not pretty boy, but let's put our ass out on promos.
No, yeah.
The cakes are all out.
The cakes are all out.
Well,
No, blood. I want to say, man, thanks for hanging out today, man.
Absolutely.
We hope you had a good time.
Thank you guys for having me. This has been a really, really fun time.
Yeah. Before we head up out of here, man, any last things you want to say?
Follow me on Instagram at the Will Emory. You'll find a lot of my upcoming wrestling appearances there. You'll find some of my dishes there. You can find me on Facebook, facebook.com/the Will Emory. I don't do Twitter because fuck Twitter, because that's where all the wrestling fans are, and I hate wrestling fans. So let's just just follow me on Instagram and follow me on Facebook, and that's pretty much just about all I got.
Follow Will's Cakes on Instagram.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, you will find my cakes on Instagram.
WillsCakes.com.
That'd be a solid side business.
You're gonna put Shaz out of business with your cakes, bro.
Javier's a subscriber. So no,
I bet he has a collection of German porn too.
Oh, I know he does.
Don't you dare! It's my business.
No, man, we want to say thanks, man. Thanks for coming, hanging out with us, brother.
Yeah, hey, thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate
man.
it.
It's great seeing you, man. It's been a while, so it's great seeing you. Great talking with you.
Thank you. Yeah, you guys too.
Yeah, man. Wish you all the luck, man.
I don't need it, but thank you.
Will, he's our dick now.
He's our dick now too. Yeah,
That's what my parents say. That's what my parents say.
No, but we want to give a special thanks to Will and Will's Cakes for hanging out with us today. Special thanks to our sponsors, the Law Office of Christopher Hoff, and to Taco Villa in Villa Park. Will don't have a beverage in front of him, but we sign off with a toast saying "Salud, cabrones." So when you're ready, 1, 2, 3.
Salud,
Salud, cabrones.